What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Nutrition Talks with Tyson the Trainer. Now, before we get started, just a quick question. If you could you please pause this, click on the review. If you're on Spotify, it should be right under my podcast name. If you are on Apple, you have to scroll all the way down to the bottom and it will say leave a review. If you could, take 2 seconds, write a review and leave a 5-star. I'd really appreciate it. It helps me help other people find me. And if you've been listening, I give out all this free advice. All I'm asking is for a quick review if you can do that. So thank you. Now, into today's podcast, I want to talk to you guys about protein and creatine. All right, two big players in the supplement game, two of the things that actually work out of all the other bullshit that is out there. And I just want to help clarify. It's kind of a bit of a Q&A, I guess, for a lot of people, just to give you guys better insight on these two supplements, right? The reason I chose them is because they're probably two of the most common questions about evidence-based supplements that I would talk about. Everyone's asking me dumb questions about, other shit, which I do not want to talk about because they don't work. So I was like, you know what? I can actually talk about this stuff, right? So we're going to talk about protein powder first and then creatine secondly, okay? What do I want to talk about protein powder first? Well, basically the different types of protein powder, what do they do, what's a good one you should be focusing on, all that type of shit, okay? So basically, you've probably heard of whey protein isolate before. You've probably heard of hydrolyzed protein. You've probably heard of whey protein on itself, and you've probably heard of whey protein concentrate, and did I say casein? Casein protein powder, Muscle Nation custard, which is basically casein protein powder. So what we're trying to look at here is, firstly, the difference between a whey protein powder, whey protein isolate, hydrolyzed whey, anything with whey in it, is basically protein on its own, okay? It's an offset of cheese. Surprisingly, a lot of people didn't know that. And all it is just protein powder. If it's an isolate, it's protein powder on its own, okay? Whey protein, isolate, whey protein, hydrolyzed. Whey protein concentrate, basically it has a little bit more calories in there and it has a little bit of extra fat. So usually you'll see in a whey protein isolate, like 0.5 grams of fat, if that. A hydrolyzed will probably have like 0.1 grams of fat. And a concentrate will have like 2.5 grams of fat, okay? So not huge differences, but little bits within calorie differences. I think there's a little bit of carbohydrates in whey protein concentrate, but the protein amounts are all basically the same, between 22 to 25 grams per 30 gram scoop of protein, okay? So whey is whey, okay? They're all protein powders. They are all complete amino acids, which means, they're a complete protein. They have all amino acids in there, which basically means they all do the same job. So why is there a difference then? Okay. Well, firstly, like I said, a concentrate is going to have more calories. When we look at more calories, I think it's like 28 more calories per serving in general, because you've got 2 grams of extra fat, maybe 3, which is 27 calories. Then you might have 2 grams of extra carbs, which is going to be 8 calories. So let's say 35, 40 calories, I should say, per serve extra. Is that a make or break? In my opinion, no. Okay, so that's the one thing. The calorie between concentrate and isolate. Then isolate to hydrolyzed. A hydrolyzed is going to be just more refined again. And with a hydrolyzed, it actually basically has 0 lactose. So a lot of people who have any type of lactose issues, they can choose a vegan protein powder or anything like that, but they can also just choose a hydrolyzed whey, and usually their stomach's actually going to be able to handle that quite easily, okay? But the hydrolyzed is not made for people who don't have who have lactose issues. It's for the bodybuilders, who want to absorb protein as fast as possible. The hydrolyzed just gets absorbed a little bit faster than the isolate, and the isolate gets absorbed a little bit faster than the concentrate. Is this going to have any difference on your gains? No. 0. All right. I'm telling you right now, 0. Okay. So with that being said, between isolate, concentrate, hydrolyzed, what should you choose? I would recommend concentrate if your stomach can handle lactose, okay? Most people who think they can't handle lactose, you probably can, okay? If you can't handle lactose, you're going to shit through the eye of a needle, pretty quickly. Also, in saying that, most people are like, oh, I don't know about lactose. It's because they ate a fucking pint of ice cream and like, oh, my stomach can't handle, all that lactose. Like, yeah, you ate a pint of ice cream. I don't think anyone's stomach's going to fucking handle that, So if you can handle lactose, all right, I would suggest getting a concentrate. It is a cheaper option. It does the exact same job as a whey protein isolate or a hydrolyzed, all right? If you're an obsessive neurotic bodybuilder who wants to get the nth degree and think they could gain a slightly more amount of muscle using a hydrolyzed and they have the money for it, fucking go for the hydrolyzed. Okay? It's much too muchness, really, to be honest. Also, the breakdown, like the way the protein powder is actually broken up. With a hydrolyzed, it probably will break up better than an isolate, and an isolate will break up better than concentrate. But you shake hard enough, you add it in a blender, you do anything, it's all going to break up roughly the same. Okay, so for cost-wise, I would recommend a concentrate. If cost isn't an issue, go between an isolate and a hydrolyzed. But they all do the same job. All right, that's what you need to know about whey protein. Okay, now we move down to casein protein. So casein protein is a slower digesting protein. Basically, when you have it, it clumps in your stomach and is broken down slowly over time. People would take casein protein powder before bed, or they would have casein they would have a protein containing casein, so that cottage cheese. You probably heard bodybuilders having cottage cheese before bed, or even like Greek yogurt contains a little bit of casein protein. Because people are like, oh, I don't want to lose my muscle gains. I need to have protein always dripping into my bloodstream, and that's going to be casein. Does it really have a place? And when I say casein, I'm also talking about Muscle Nation custard. Okay, everyone fucking sucks off Muscle Nation custard. Do these things have a place in your diet? Well, if you're going to go very long periods of time without food, let's say more than 5 hours, and you need something to keep you a little bit full, then casein can play a role, okay? Do you need to have it before bed? No, okay? Because remember, the principle here is total protein matters most, right? We get total protein goal in, then we try and split it over our meals. Like, you can go 8 hours without protein. Let me just tell you that right now, right? Imagine if our body couldn't go 8 hours without protein, we would die. To be honest, okay? Because not only is protein good for muscle, protein does everything in the body, right? Protein plays so many fucking roles in our body that if you actually didn't get protein, not just for gains, but in general, you'd be fucking dead. So if our body couldn't use protein, if our body needed protein every 8 hours, hunter-gatherers wouldn't get out of the hunter-gatherer stage, they'll be fucking dead. All right? So it's okay to go 8 hours without your protein, okay? So with the casein side of things, it's for those of you that are a bit neurotic and you do want to have, I'm gonna be flying for 7 hours. I'm not gonna eat anything, so I'll have a casein protein before I go. Sweet, have that. Okay. But apart from that, it's not a much or muchness, right? If you're having dinner and you're having a protein with dinner, right? A protein source, whatever it is, chicken, fish, beef, eggs, whatever it is, and you're having vegetables and you're having fats in that meal, it will slow down the protein digestion, all right, which is what we want anyways. So as long as you're having dinner, and most of you are probably having your protein notes or something before, a little bit of dessert, your YoPros, whatever it is, you are fine. Easy. What casein or Muscle Nation custard does, pardon me, is it is low calories and it's quite voluminous, all right, which means you can, bulk up your meals with this type of stuff. So for those of the people that love the Muscle Nation custard powder, that's why they do it, basically, because it's you can make a good thick substance with that. You mix it in with some YoPro, you make a thick substance, that's fine. So you can use that if you want to, all right? What I would say, though, this is actually where it goes in a little bit of semantics, but nothing too crazy. Just don't have casein protein powder post-workout because it's a slower digesting protein compared to whey protein, all right? See, if you want, again, we're trying to optimize here, get whey protein or a protein meal after your workout, and then have casein at any other time of the day if you wanted to. I've still got casein left over just because I like the thickness. And again, for me, for dessert, at the moment, while I'm dieting, it is a little bit of thickness that fills me up a little bit more. That's why I have casein. Again, it's not going to make or break you. If you do not have casein protein powder at night, God forbid, you lose your fucking gains, because you won't. So it's just something you can have if you want. It's a slower digesting, a little bit thicker in the protein side of things. All right. With that, what else is there? Well, there's vegan protein powders too. So, with a vegan protein powder, we want to get a complete protein powder, which will usually be a pea and a brown rice protein powder together, or there's soy protein powder. What else is there? I think that's it. They may have like different types of blends too, but if you're a vegan, you can have the protein powder. Most of them now will never be a pea isolate by itself or a brown rice isolate. It's going to be a pea and brown rice combination, which is what you want, okay? Because with vegan sources of protein, sometimes they're not complete amino acid profiles. So you need to mix these things together, which is why you'll usually see it's a brown rice and a pea protein. Again, if you are lactose intolerant, you can try the hydrolyze and see if your stomach handles it. If you can't, just try a vegan protein powder. They're a little bit harder to break up, is what I've noticed. I don't know if they're getting better, but they're quite fucking tough, in my opinion, and like they're a bit chunky, and it doesn't taste the best if it's not that well shaken up. So maybe use a blender and put it on like extra speed if you can, and that could actually help you. So they're basically your main different types of protein powders, okay? So we have faster digesting ones, your whey proteins, we have slower digesting, your casein, and we have vegan protein powders. What brand should you buy then? There's so many different brands out there. What's the best one to go for? Honestly, it doesn't matter. It's whatever you prefer. Whey protein is whey protein is whey protein is whey protein. Whey protein from bulk supplements, where I get all my stuff, versus whey protein from Muscle Nation is fucking whey protein powder, all right? Any reputable brand is not going to spike their protein powder with fake aminos, which people got caught doing a while ago. They're not going to do that now because they'll fucking lose their business, all right? So any reputable brand, which there are heaps out there, especially if you listen in Australia, there's plenty. Just choose one that you align with, all right? I used to use True Protein Powder first. Then I moved to VPA Protein Powder. Now I'm using bulk supplements. Why am I moving? Okay, well, I tried some flavors at True Protein. Sweet. Now I want to try VPA because they said they'll sponsor me for a bit. Sweet. Then they stopped sponsoring me, and I was like, all right, well, let me try something cheap because I want to save some money. So I went to Bulk Nutrients. They're the cheapest for me. They're actually very fucking affordable, and they actually have some great flavors too. So I'm stuck on Bulk Nutrients at the moment. Easy. If you're someone who likes Muscle Nation, go suck off Muscle Nation, if you're someone who likes True Protein, go get True Protein. There is no right or wrong, okay? And there is nothing special about any brand of a whey protein powder. Let me just reiterate that for you, because you're going to walk into a supplement store or you're going to hear some fuckhead be like, you've got to take this protein powder from this brand because of X, Y. No. Whey protein is whey protein. Do yourself a favor. Grab a tub of protein powder, if you can, in a store. Grab 2 different brands. Swip them around. Have a look at the ingredients. What do we have a look at here? Basically, the exact same shit. Which is great, because that means you can just choose the one that's more affordable. Like, if it was different, I wouldn't be buying a whey protein concentrate from bulk supplements. I would be buying one that actually is going to benefit me, which is actually, the whey protein concentrate. So it's not that I'm like, oh man, fuck, I'm telling all these guys to spend it on this one and I buy this one. It's fucking protein powder, right? So don't get caught up in which brand. It doesn't matter. Again, if you're looking for cost effective, find the most cost effective one. You'll probably see occasionally there's like a sale on Catch, Catch.com. They fucking sell off any brands of protein powder. Look for a sale there, There's no right or wrong. You have plenty of different types you can try, different brands. So find flavors you like, try the brands and see how you go. I have to pause this for a second because my kitty cannot get out of the door. Sorry, Chloe. Here you go. So yes, try any brand you want, alright? Doesn't really matter. Again, I like bulk nutrients. It's fucking cheap. That's all you need to know about protein. Okay, that's all you need to know about the different types of protein. When should you take a protein powder? Whenever the fuck you want. Alright? It's not just for after a workout. And you can actually eat other stuff after a workout. Or consume, I should say, other stuff after a workout, apart from just protein powder. All protein powder is, I want you to think about this. 1 scoop of protein powder is the equivalent of about 100 grams of chicken breast. That's all you have to think about. It's basically, that's what it is. All right, one scoop has 20 grams of protein. It's about, I think it's 120 calories, 130 calories. 100 grams of chicken, basically the same thing. All right. Now, obviously, it's not a fucking chicken breast, okay? But you get what I'm saying. It's just that. So it's like, do I eat chicken or do I have a scoop of protein? Whatever you want. It's the same thing. The reason whey protein powder was invented, well, I actually don't know the reason, so I'm not going to make up something and it's probably wrong. But look, whey protein powder is there. It's a quick way to get protein in. Whether you're on the run because you can't sit down for a meal, whether you just need something but you're not too hungry, whether you finished a workout and you're not hungry and you get something in. You know, I think that's when it started to be marketed like you need protein powder instantly after a workout because you break down muscle and protein powder is the way to go. I'm assuming that's probably, what happened, which, if you don't have protein powder, you go home, you eat a meal, it's the same shit, okay? So that's all you got to think about. One scoop is basically the equivalent of 100 grams of chicken breast, which means, what would I choose for the most part? I always choose food because food fills me up more than a protein shake. When I'm not hungry, I'll have a protein shake. When I'm finishing a workout, let's say I'm not going to be home for the next 2 or 3 hours because I'm out doing stuff, I'll have a protein shake. When I'm, let's say I've had a workout and dinner is in 2 hours, I'll probably have a protein shake just after, just to fill in the gap for the next 2 hours. Then I'll have my dinner. But that's a lie because I don't have a workout in the afternoon. But I just thought about a worst case scenario. So, you get a much to a muchness. You choose a protein that's going to fit you. So any time you can have it. You don't have to have it post-workout. You don't have to have it pre-workout, whatever you want to do. Like if you're not hungry in the morning and you just need some protein, have a fucking protein shake if you want. There's no right or wrong. Don't let people bullshit you otherwise. There's so much bullshit out there. People trying to say you fucking kills me. So now that's pretty much all you need to know about protein powder. You can have it any time of the day. It's the equivalent of one chicken breast. Choose any fucking brand you want. Choose a whey protein concentrate if cost is your main concern. You don't need a casein protein, but if you want something thicker, have a casein protein. If you have lactose issues, choose a hydrolyzed whey or go and get a vegan option. Boom, sorted, okay? That's all you need to know. So now we're going to move into creatine, because creatine is still one of the most, surprisingly, I'm asked so many questions about creatine, and I'm like, holy shit. So, might as well cover it in this, right? Now, creatine is, people think like that it's going to do something noticeable. You're not really going to notice creatine, okay? So, the way I like to explain creatine is, let's say your gas tank is 100 liters, right? When you take creatine, your gas tank is now like 103, 104 liters. It's actually not that big of a difference, all right? But it's enough to make a difference over time. So what does this mean? If you were doing 10 reps of an exercise, when you've been taking creatine for a while, that's going to allow you to potentially add 1 or 2 extra reps. Okay? It's not like you take creatine this week, you're like, I can do more reps next week. Like, you're probably not going to notice that. It's a slow effect. But what it allows you to do is just do a little bit extra. And so this is why it's not going to be noticeable. But let's say, because you've been taking creatine, it's allowing you to push a little bit of extra reps here and there, all right? So at the end of the year, creatine has helped you gain a little bit more strength overall, add a little bit more volume. Again, a small percentage, 4 or 5% more volume, 4 or 5% more strength. But in that is actually going to benefit you over years to come. All right? So this is just a very, very long-term thing. You don't notice when you're on creatine, when you're off creatine. You're like, oh man, I'm fucking on creatine. Oh my God. Those guys are not on creatine. They're on something a lot more than creatine. But it's not like that, all right? So and again, it's nothing magnificent, but it's funny because it's one of the most researched, evidence-based supplements out there. And it's like, it works, but the results it gets you are not amazing. However, this is actually what real life is with certain supplements. They don't get you amazing results. They supplement you to get a little bit better. That's why when we focus on supplements, when I talk to you guys about supplements, it's the fucking last 3 to 5%, because that's the difference it makes. A 3 to 5% difference as a whole. People are like, oh, let me focus on the supplement. So it's like, you're telling me you'd rather focus on 3 to 5% potential extra gains when you could actually be getting the most out of nutrition, which is about, let's say 75%. You're training, I should say 65% nutrition. You're training 25%, and then you're fucking, your supplement's 2 to 3%. Like, what are you missing? You're missing the big picture here. And again, it's like, when you hear about creatine, you're like, that's really all it does. And maybe a 3 to 4%, 3 to 5%. Yeah, that's it. Possibly not even that. So when everyone else promises you other things on the supplement, you know they're fucking bullshit. Because creatine, proven to be one of the most well-versed supplements, isn't that fucking effective. Sorry, isn't that impressive. It's impressive because it actually does help you make gains, but it's not like fucking steroids, okay? You take steroids, it's a noticeable difference. I'm telling you guys right now. You see someone, I don't know, everyone's probably got a friend where the friend started on steroids, and then you've seen them, let's say a few months later, and you're like, oh my God, For me, being put on testosterone replacement, I went from 70, what did I go from? 70 kilos to 97 kilos, all right? Because it's fucking testosterone put in my body. It's not creatine. It's not a fucking pre-workout supplement, all right? So, look, unfortunately, supplements don't do a massive difference, but they do help overall, all right? So don't expect game changer from this. How much creatine should you take every day? 5 grams. Easy blanket answer, okay? Can you do it off body weight? Yes. I'm not going to tell you guys all the little intricacies in body weight, because you're going to measure it. You're like, oh, well, I need to take 3 grams, not 5 grams. I need to take 6 grams, not 5 grams. You just take 5 grams every day, because the scooper that usually comes with it is a 5-gram scoop. So you measure it out. It's easy to do. And whether you were to do 3 grams a day or 6 grams a day based on your body weight, you actually reach something called a saturation point, where now you've topped up your levels, okay? So like your gas tank, again, let's say your gas tank gets to 0. So I'm filling it up at 5 liters a day. You're filling it up at 3 liters a day. Someone else is filling it up at 6 liters a day. We're all eventually going to get to 100 liters, and you can't go more than 100 liters filled up. So it's like, okay, you took 6 grams, which means you beat me by a certain percentage. I don't know what that is. Maybe it's like 10 extra days you beat me. Fucking sweet, all right? I took 3 grams, so that means you beat me by an extra 20 days, all right? Okay, well, fuck, now what? Guess what? We've all hit the same point, okay? We're all saturated. Then from there, we just keep taking creatine to keep the levels topped up. So that's why I recommend 5 grams every single day, okay? You do not need to cycle on it. You do not need to come off it. You do not need to take it on training days and non-training days. You take it every single day. When do you take it? Whenever you can. Whenever you remember to take it. Whether you take it in a pre-workout drink, whether you take it first thing in the morning with your water, whether you take it in the evening with your supplements, or your lunch supplements, whatever. It's just whenever you can take it. There is no best time to take it, all right? I take it when I have my first glass of water in the morning. Why? Because I remember to put it in my water, and I'm having a glass of water every morning. Bang, it's done, all right? Can you mix it with coffee? Yes. Can you mix it with juice? Yes. Can you mix it with a protein powder? Yes. Mix it with whatever the fuck you want. Just have it 5 grams a day. Every day. For the rest of your life. Even if you're not lifting. Because it has a lot more benefits than just muscle, all right? A lot of research coming out on brain health, which is actually really, really good. Creatine plays a benefit in that, okay? It comes up with bone health too, which is also very good. So creatine is, again, a supplement that's been proven to be so beneficial in so many areas. Even though it's the smallest increment, it's still beneficial, which is why everyone should take creatine, okay? Endurance athletes, weight training, people who are just overall fit and healthy, people who don't lift at all, everyone should be taking creatine, 5 grams a day for the rest of their life. What are the side effects? Bit of bloating. Some people do get bloating with creatine. If you get bloated with creatine, you'll know. Don't take creatine and wake up and be like, oh, I'm bloated because of creatine. As in, like, creatine will cause stomach cramps, bloating, and, like, you'll get gassy, okay? If you're not farting a lot, like, literally, if you're not farting and getting, like, bubbly guts, it's not making you bloated, all right? If you are farting, if it's giving you stomach issues, break it up. So maybe have 2 grams in the morning, 3 grams in the afternoon, or vice versa. A little bit more annoying to try and break it up, because then you've got to try and remember to take it twice a day so you can. Otherwise, you just don't have to take it. If it's too much of a stomach issue and it's too hard to break it up and it becomes too much of an issue, don't take it. Again, this is not a make or break supplement, guys. This is not going to fucking be a game changer. We're not going to compare 2 people and in 3 years' time be like, look at this guy on creatine and look at this guy who didn't take creatine. Look at their muscle mass. Look at their gains. It's not that, again, it's not that noticeable. There's going to be like a 5% difference between these people. Nothing crazy, all right? So if you can't take it, you can't fucking take it. Easy. What else about creatine I was telling you guys? So break it up if you're having stomach issues. Take it any time of the day. Once a day, 5 grams. Take it every day. Don't come off it. What type of creatine should you take? Creatine monohydrate. That's it. Okay? You're going to hear someone tell you about this creatine or that creatine or this does this and this does that. Creatine monohydrate is 100% absorbable. How do you beat 100% absorption rate? You don't, all right? So people are like, oh, take this creatine because the absorption rate is higher. Well, how do you beat 100%? If I eat something and I absorb 100% of it, I cannot create more energy to be able to be absorbed from 110%. That doesn't fucking work. So creatine monohydrate, which is funnily enough, the cheapest. It is getting a bit more expensive now because people are actually clued on to taking it. But you should be taking it, all right? So creatine monohydrate. What brand did you take? Any brand. Creatine monohydrate is creatine monohydrate is creatine monohydrate is creatine monohydrate, okay? Brand A to brand Z. If on the ingredients it says creatine monohydrate, that's what you want. Again, I take bulk supplements or bulk nutrients, whatever the fucking one it is, because it's cheap. I buy the 2 kilo pack. 5 grams for 2 kilos is going to last me a very long time. All right. I'm just trying to think what that would actually be. 100 days, 200 days, 400 days of creatine. That's over a year. That's fucking sick. There you go. I just calculated that. So bang, 1 bag done, simple, all right, easy. Every morning I have it, bang, drink it, go for it. What happens if you miss a day? Nothing, just take it the next day. Do you have to play catch up? No. What happens if you go on a trip and you go away? Someone asked me this question. What happens if I went away, didn't take creatine, now I came back? What's going to happen? Nothing. Just start taking creatine again. Again, there's no issue being on creatine, off creatine. No one's going to know when they're on and when they're off. It's not going to oh man, I look so shit this week. I've not been taking creatine anymore. Fuck, I feel so flat. I feel so off. These things aren't that noticeable, all right? Subtleties. So just, when you travel, you don't have to take it with you either. I'm not going to add 2 kilos of travel luggage because I think I need to fucking take creatine with me, all right? When I go overseas, I'm not taking creatine. When I come back, I'm taking creatine again. That simple, all right? If you forgot about taking creatine for a while and you need to come back on it, just start taking it. It's real simple, guys. Creatine monohydrate, 5 grams a day, every day, any time of the day for the rest of your life. That's it. All right. Boom. Like any brand I should say too. That's it. That's the 5 things you need to know. All right. There you go. Easy. But also we're saying that, taking creatine, what's going to happen when you take it? Like I know I told you about the strength stuff. What else? Your weight is going to go up. It's not body fat. It's not bloatedness. You're not going to look watery. The water is going to go into your muscles. When you have more water in your muscles, it makes you look better. All right? It makes you look a little bit more defined. Now, again, you're not going to notice that like, oh shit, man, look at this creatine. Fuck, making me look jacked. It's a subtlety. But people get in their head, oh, it makes you hold water, it must make you be bloated. No, it does not. Oh, my weight went up because I'm taking creatine. Yes, it does. Water's in your muscles now. That's a good thing. So just be aware, if you start taking creatine, your scale weight will go up. How much will it go up? I don't fucking know. Everyone's going to be different. If the scale weight keeps going up after 2 weeks, it's not the creatine. I'm telling you that right now, okay? Like a creatine is going to make someone gain between 1 to 3 kilos possibly. The lighter you are, the less you'll gain. The heavier you are, the more you'll gain because the more of the content in the muscle. Some people don't get a weight change. I don't get a weight change at all. All right? Some people do, some people don't. It's because I eat a lot of red meat. Red meat has a high amount of creatine, so I probably get creatine from red meat regardless, which is why I don't get weight fluctuations with it. Other people do. If you are dieting and you decide, hey, I'm going to start taking creatine, do not think, oh, my weight's going up, fuck, it's making